Hello, hello. Welcome to the Sitdown with Stand-Up Comedians. I'm your host, Eddie You the Man. This is a podcast where we try to find out where does funny come from. Spoiler, it's usually trauma. Remember to like and subscribe, start a conversation in the comments, and hit the notification bell. Find us at Sitdown Podcast Milano on all social media platforms, and this is an Arcade Studio production. Everyone, thank you for tuning in. This is a Sit Down with Stand-Up Comedians, and I'm your host, Eddie You the Man. Today, I have one of my really good friends. We've been doing comedy for like more than 2 years, and he's a really great guy, funny, amazing, and out there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
One,
So
two, three,
we have today Giustino De Blasio.
Hi, Eddie. Nice to have me here. I'm like really excited to sit down with you, and like we always have normal conversation, like in front of a cup of coffee, or let's face it, alcohol, and
Negroni.
a Negroni, a good wine. Well, sky's the limit. But yeah, no, I'm happy like to be like talking comedy on like on your show where like you're the host, I'm the guest. Here I am.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
So let's first get into it. So can you tell us about yourself, who you are, where you're from, and why you started comedy?
Well, actually, like, the reason I started comedy, it's very linked to my old job. Because, like, I was working as a story editor. I'm not going to say the company. We both know which one. and, like, the thing is, like, that, like, I was doing, like, a story editor kind of way, which is, like, you give notes to artists. But, like, to give notes to artists, most of my line of work, they forget how creating art. Like, it's easy to say, make this funnier or make this smarter or make this more clear. So at the same time, since I was really, really frustrated at work, and like at the same time I was like always like kind of flirted with comedy. We had like a on and off relationship, kind of like you know, comedy was my Rachel to my Ross. I hate being Ross in this metaphor, but that's how it is. And so, like,
a lot of Friends reference, always.
Yeah, well, I am who I am.
Yeah.
Anyway, like, the thing is, like, I always flirted with the concept of comedy, but I took it more seriously the more my job was giving me that, like, kick that I wanted to do. So I was like, okay, I'm over 30. I'm already, like, in a place in my life I don't want to be. Let's do comedy. It's like, you know, like, it's like, okay, I'm the jokester of every group, like, so make it in a way that I can improve myself, and like, am I just funny at dinner, or like do stranger would find what I think funny, and overall just like, and I think that's for you, tell me if it's the same, like it's like to say, like, sometimes, like, the most times, like the big chunk of comedy is like, oh, I find this funny, and you're gonna hear about it, whether you find funny or not, you know?
I always find it like you're like having a talk with your friends, and you say something witty, and people laugh. Like, yeah, I made you laugh, you know? And it's always like, yes, you know, I'm funny, you know? But it's always how it starts off, and I'll be like always laughing and all that stuff. But no, the thing I really liked, as you talked about, you worked, and for this company that we can't talk about because they sue us. But there's something I did realize, as, you know, we were doing comedy and you came up to me and you were really good at pinpointing the story and say, you know what, this one, I see where you're going, you should do this. And I was like, oh, you know, and like you knew, like, okay, there's something missing here. You're the one who taught me, like, the you know, all things come in threes. I remember that talk.
Yeah.
You're like, all good. You always have to have threes. You know, if you want to do it, you do it once, 2, 3, but no more than 3. You know, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah,
you know?
Comedy comes in threes. Rick and Morty taught us that too. Yeah, I mean, probably it's professional hazard. Like, but probably I got into that profession because I'm a stickler all the time. And just like, I'm the actually guy, and I try not to be, like, because most actually guy, let's face it, it's like they're, you know, like, you know, you're an actually guy too. Come on, like, you're chiller, and you pass under the radar, but like you're an actually guy.
Well, yeah.
oh yeah, you're an well guy. Like, yeah. Because like most actually guys, they do it to feel superior. They're the type of guy that in a show they would like. You know, spiders are not actually insects. They're arachnids, you know? And like they just say it to sound smarter, but like, and I was telling this to another friend of mine. And tell me if it's like the same to you. Like, it's like there's something in your brain that glitches when somebody says like something that is like
Wrong.
Not,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's like, oh, that hurts. No,
that hurts. I have to say
something.
it, which is different than
Yeah.
like, oh no, I'm gonna correct you
Yeah.
because I have to feel smart. I mean, to me, it's like, yeah, you know that movie with Tom Hanks in which he plays Forrest Gump,
Oh, that was such
and you
a
go
good
like
movie.
Forrest Gump, just like.
It's like, come on, man, can't you see it? Come on, just tell me. Yeah, for me, it's always like that situation of like, yeah, if I don't say this, they're gonna go the whole life thinking that this is right, and then it's kind of on me, you know, because I didn't say anything, so I kind of have to say something, and yeah, you know, a lot of people don't like that
Because people like us, like we end like, and we talked about this like vis-a-vis on the ADHD spectrum.
Yeah.
There are things that you do, and like people label you as an asshole because assholes have the same mannerisms. So it's like you know, it's like one of those snakes that like mimic the poison snake, but just like they don't have any poison or something like that. It's like no, I'm not an asshole. That's exactly who I am. I'm not trying to be, you know.
I watched this one meme, so random. As you said, we're heavy HD, so it's gonna go out there. I watched this one thing; it was
It's gonna
funny.
be fun.
That's why I invited you. It's like, you know, we're gonna do this, so we're here. I watched this one thing; it was like super random, but it was like, you know, it's really hard when you have a narcissist with someone on the spectrum because they're just like they attract each other, and then it's just like it's a snake that eats its because like, you know, the narcissist would do something and the, you know, a person who's like on the spectrum like, okay, whatever, and the narcissist is like, what the fuck, and it just like keeps a cycle that keeps going.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and like because of like narcissists do the same thing because like at the same time like you wanna like. You play defense, they play attack. But like sometimes they're the same strategy if you think about like when you're late, you know, like late being the big thing, you know. I'm late,
You're
and like I know.
But we understand that now at this point. It's like, he's gonna be late.
I mean, like I came like here 5 minutes late, and
Which
I was
is
so
early.
I was so proud of
It was
myself.
early.
In my defense, you said around, which gives like a room of tolerance of 15 minutes. So no, but you know, going back on the late thing, like I go late. If I go late, like I feel so ashamed that I'm just like clumped up in my back and I'm become really small and I feel like a fucking thief, you know, like
you
like
stole time,
I stole somebody's time. Whereas like other people, they're late either because they don't give a shit, so they're on their own time and they don't even try to be on time. And at the same time, there's other people who do it as a power play.
Yeah, I hate that so much.
Yeah,
but
but those people make us look bad because like we have been trying everything. We just like don't conceive time in the same way. And they're like, no, you're using an excuse. And then now, and that is being perceived as an excuse because like they every time there's that thing, there's somebody who ruins it. Let's face it.
Yeah. I think on the opposite. I'm always early, but it's like really bad early. Like I'm gonna be early because like, oh, what happens if this happens? What happens if this happens? So I'm like planning everything out, and I'm always there. It's like, okay, I want to be there on time, and then I'm always like 15 minutes early. Like, shit, fuck, I did it again. You know, like now I'm just gonna sit here and wait until, and then usually the person's late. So it's like, okay, so yeah, I'm 30 minutes early essentially. So yeah, but
yeah, right, because like they put their clock on yours. And then like all of a sudden you say like, okay, I'm gonna break the pattern. I'm gonna be early. And like since they set the clock on your previous you, there's the 30 minutes you're talking about. Yeah,
it's like that. So we have a video. Actually, your first one. I have a couple of videos because there's so many things I saw in your videos and I wanted to talk about. So like I think we have like 2 videos. We'll check it out and we'll watch it. And then you just tell me what you think and how you came up with this idea.
That is so weird because like I never record myself. Most comedians record themselves.
Which,
but I cannot rewatch myself, and that's how I love you. Like I'm gonna do the worst thing, the thing that
So this first one.
And then I look at my pockets and there's like the most random shit, the most random shit on an old jacket. It's just like you find your yo-yo, shit like that. You find like another pair of these because your girlfriend doesn't want it, and it's like, are you fucking crazy? It's free. It's in a museum contract. What the fuck? Like, what if I have to watch something in 3D? And she was like, dude, everything is in 3D. I am 3D.
So what I like about this video is because it's essence you. You're so random. You never know what you're going to do. You never know what you're going to pull out. Like, I think there's other videos.
Literally from my pocket.
Yeah,
literally.
I was like, what are you going to do now? And then like, you can never guess where you're going with that. You know, like a lot of people are formulaic. You know, they're like, okay, he said this. Okay, he's going to end like that. Obvious. See a mile back. With you, I'm like, I don't know what this guy's going. I don't know how he's going to do it. And sometimes I feel like you don't know either. You know, it's like he says just going for it, rapid fire it. And it could go and it could go. It's really interesting.
It's a hit or miss. It's a hit or miss. Yeah, actually, that specific video, I came up with that day. Because like I put on, it was like a really, really hot. It was really hot the previous week. Mm-hmm. And there was like a light jacket, and like with this weather we're having, like there was a jacket that I wasn't like wearing like in a long time. Mm-hmm. And a couple of like I wore it in March. I think this was April. Like for an entire month I didn't wear that jacket. It's like I was coming to, and I was late, of course, as we were talking before. And I'm like, find this random shit. I find my yo-yo, and I find like the 3D glasses, and I'm like, okay, this could be a bit. And like my brain started like going on the subway, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm gonna make a bit out of this. So it's like the thing is like you asked me before like why I like to do comedy. Also like because of the novelty of it. There are many comedians, and I have like the biggest like respect for them, that they like work on a bit up until it's perfect. They break it down and they nail the delivery and everything. But to me, the more I do a bit, the more and tell me like if it's because you've had like great bits that like you haven't like. You send them to retirement, and an early retirement, I have to say. But
they'll come back later on. But you know, for now,
you got them back. But but like many people, they just like keep those like bulk of jokes, you know, and then they bring it like until they're perfect. And I wish I was that kind of guy. But at the same time, like if I have a novelty things, like I'm doing like my usual bit, I do it sometimes and everything. But like in the back of my brain, there's like this thing. I was like, yes, but you found the 3D glasses in your pocket.
You have to do it. Come on. You can't do it. You know.
It's funny that same day, a guy was running, surpassed me, and like spit as soon as he went like next to me. And I did a bit about that too, because it's like a guy is spitting in your ear, like, and you think he's spitting on you, and like you're not gonna make a bit out of it. Of course, it's not gonna be perfect, but like, it happened. People should know about it.
Yeah, for me, it's like interesting, as you said. Like I do. For me, I have this rule, which I made this rule for myself. It's like, okay, I'm gonna do my bits 3 times in 3 different places. And then after that, retire it. Not retire it for good, but I need to come up with new bits. So I'm constantly coming up with new things that I'm not relying on it. But the other part of it, which I think is also true, is like in my head, I'm like, okay, I did that. That's good enough. Next thing, you know, like I'm so impatient. I'm like, okay, I need something new. I can't like, no, I can't just this same thing again. No, I'm bored. You know, please, something new, you know, so.
At the same time, like, does this happen to you, like, to somebody, like, that heard you before and said, like, oh, what happened to that bit? Yeah. I mean, I know I do it to you all the time, but with the cat. The black cat. The black cat. I love that cat. I love that cat.
I'm still, the thing is, I retire it, but then, like, even this week, because I've never been able to close it, man. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I can't close it good enough. Yeah. At each time, I'm like, okay, I'm going to change it till I close it because it's not good. But also, I'm like, I think I'm a person like, let me put it in the back and like, I'll think of something eventually. But if I think too much about it, I won't go anywhere. and I've come up with
You
changed
gotta
it over
find the
time.
sweet spot. Like, 'cause
Yeah.
there's like, if you retire it at 100%, you're never gonna think about it. But
Yeah.
at the same time, if you keep thinking about it, you're going overwhelm mode. And
Yeah. You told me this one thing, like I think because you told me you're right and all that stuff. Oh, I don't know. Sometimes I confuse, but either you told me, someone told me, like sometimes when you're writing, because I'm a writer, I love to write. I write short stories, long stories, usually short stories because I can't do long stories too much. But the thing is, I get stuck. And I was like, okay, what happens when I get stuck in a story? Like, I don't know how to go forward. It's like, work on something else. Work on something else. Work on something else. And when you're doing that, you might find inspiration and be able to go back. And I think that's how it is with comedy. I work on it. I'm like, I don't know what it is. I can't find it. Okay, let me work on something else. And then later on, I'm like, oh, I know exactly what it is. And it hits.
yeah, like sometimes like you come with a punchline 1 year later.
Yeah. But it's a good punchline. It was worth the 1 year, you know? And it's like, you know.
But like, sometimes like I also feel that like the thought process, like the punchline is a good bow at the end, but like when it's something like more esoteric, like not like a structural 1, 2, 3 joke, but like more like of an idea, like not closing it. Whereas like audience wise, it gets like less palatable, sellable, or like even like peddling for laugh, like because like let's face it, like we don't get paid to do comedy. Our payments are laugh, you know,
Laughs, you know?
An agreement. Like I would prefer a good nod over a loud laugh. You know, like when you see people and nobody's laughing, but they go like that.
Yeah,
I
was there. Yeah, I felt that. Yeah.
And again, like I'm talking in extremes here because like a good like when you get like a whole crowd laugh.
Yeah, but I feel like people don't understand like this idea of there's a spectrum. You have people laughing, which is really good, but also you have people who are listening and like nodding. The worst. It's not that it's just silence. The worst is when other people are just talking, because that just means we don't care. Yeah, this sucks, and I'm gonna have a conversation while you're up there, like bearing your soul. So it's like, damn, you're like, no one's even. It's not that they even don't like me; they don't care, you know. So that's the worst. And then people,
you know what I do when that happens. You know that.
Yeah.
I put the microphone next to the speaker and just like, you're gonna annoy me, I'm gonna annoy you back.
Yeah.
It's very mafia style, like, you shit on me, guy, I'm gonna shit on you. Very Scorsese, it's Scorsese comedy, but
I once did this one. I remember this because I recorded it. I lost it because it's my old phone, and you know the whole story.
Yeah.
But there was this girl who was talking, and I heard her talking for a lot of point of the my bit. And so then I was like, nah, okay, whatever. I'm gonna say something. So I was like, oh, you over there. Oh yeah. Hey, what's up? You know? And she's like. I was like, yeah. So, are you talking? I was bearing my soul, and she's like, no. I was like, okay, tell me what we're talking about. And she was like, I was like, exactly. Let's go back to it. And that quieted her up, but in such a way that was like, I think at the same point there was guys like, he said he was talking about this. He's talking about this, you know, and like it was like, perfect.
But this is a perfect example, I think, of what the asshole versus oblivious thing that we were talking about. Like, you know, like you can talk during a comedy show because you are naturally distracted vis-a-vis, like you can probably you have the ADHD or you're just an unfocused person. So you're just like non-maliciously speaking to another person and you're like annoying the comedian without like, like you're not actively trying to heckle them, but like causing disturbance. Whereas but usually these are the people on the back or middle back.
Yeah.
When somebody's on the front and they're talking to each other, they have that entitled smug look.
Yeah. No. Now you know what you're doing. You chose to sit in the front seat and then you also chose to talk in front of me. That's intentional.
I mean, like that's like that. There's also a spectrum in that because there's like, okay, this is my show, this is my Netflix, and they treat the comedian like it's TV.
Yeah.
And like you're on the dumber side of that thing, it's like you're completely like oblivious to your circumstances. But like it's like, I want to sit in the front, I want to talk to my friend. You gotta pick one. You gotta pick one. Or like actively heckling.
Yeah.
Which is like which is like it's a thing that I like kind of enjoy.
It makes you. It sharpens you. It sharpens your skill and your wit. Because in that moment, you gotta be like, okay, what? I have to have a good comeback. You know.
Yeah, no, like, because I have two stories about this. One in which like I came up on top, and one in which I came up on the bottom. I mean, so like, insert gay joke here.
We're all thinking it. So it's okay.
We were all thinking it. Like there were too many, but I was thinking one, but there were like. Anyway, the one time I was doing my bit about being like the Germans, like wearing like the Germans were stylish only during like World War II, and you know, and this woman was like, oh, and how do Italian how do Italian dressed at the time? And I'm like, oh, Italian at the time were wearing like very shitty clothes, like the baggy pants and the basque on top. And she was just keep on heckling, and she's like, oh, and are you proud of that? And I'm like, no, I'm proud of Prada, which just came out of the on the spot. But like she kept heckling. At one point, I just like looked that in the eye. I took a pause and I went like, you must be really fun at parties. And everybody else laughed. And I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah. Because that's scary. Because you're like, you know, it's really could go either way.
Could go either way. Like one time, like I wasn't having like a fully formed joke. I just like found weird of like this. I just found out about demisexual. And I didn't. My fully formed joke about demisexual is like you're attracted to a person only if you have feelings for that, and like how is that a minority? That's what your parents and your grandma wants you to be. So that was that was rambling a lot, and like in the process we were talking about like, oh, there's demisexuals and everything, and at the same and a girl, like the first time I did this bit that wasn't fully formed, there was this girl that was actually demisexual, and like she was looking at me with that judgy look, very very judgy, very like. But I get where she was coming from. She was like it wasn't a joke for her, which I totally respect. That's why I changed the joke afterwards, because I still found it funny that like, you know, like. You develop feelings for a person and then you have sex with them. That's like what everybody wants you, like so what's polite society wants you to be. But the way I was posing it, it was like I was making fun of like that there's people that are demisexual, which wasn't my intention. And then I was like, and then my instinct was like, oh, but my best friend, she's trans. And like, but I didn't wanted it to say because you become one of those people, you know?
Oh, you know, my best friend's black, you know?
Right.
I can say this, like, no, I swear, you know?
Like, because like, again, there's like, there's like still the spectrum between like assholes who ruin it for everybody. Because like, oh yeah, I talked once to a trans person. And now I can make trans jokes. Whereas like I lived with me and my friend Eva, she's trans. Like we've been friends for since 2014. Like one time she had an abusive boyfriend. I didn't have a house in Milan. She flew to my hotel room in Milan, and then we went together to my parents down south because I had a wedding. It's a very complicated story. I'm not gonna. Like she broke up with her boyfriend 1 week ago, and I was like one day entirely on the phone on call to help her out because it was like she broke up. This guy had a double life. It's a whole thing. I'm not gonna get into it. But like she found out that this guy was for the 40 years they were together, he was cheating on her because it was kind of fetishizing her, but as a nice guy. So a whole thing. But like, how can you explain on stage that versus I have a trans friend? You know, like that, inevitably you become one of those people, and justifying yourself makes you even more one of those people because you know you can make up stories.
And those situations, I think a lot of people what gets them caught in is that like, okay, I'll double down. It's like, no, back up. But yeah, it's because and I don't think it's even the idea because you do want to explain yourself, and it's like, no, I'm not like that. But it's
the more you explain yourself,
the worse it sounds.
Sometimes you just have to,
Okay, I'll take that L. Yeah, that sounded bad. Yep, sorry.
No, yeah.
But actually, this goes back to what you were saying before, which is that you made this joke, and then you had someone in the crowd, and you're like, okay, I think that's like really interesting, the conscious comedy. Because I think as a comedian, you need to be conscious. Because I think like most people will be like, yeah, whatever, I'm going to say this joke over and over again because, if you don't like it, that's your fault. But you, in this sense, looked at this like, yeah, you know what, I didn't really like this because, and I can change it. Because the point is to be funny, not to be like, whatever. I think consciousness in comedy is very important when you're like making, great jokes, because, you're appealing to an audience and, as you're going forward.
Yeah, because like the thing is like, but I meant well doesn't cut it.
Yeah.
Because like the I meant well type of thing, it's more like, yes, you mean well, but like how I'm like, because like comedy at the end, like, and I think like to any form of communication, one thing, it's like more, okay, you meant well, but how can this be perceived?
Yeah. And how am I supposed to know that? I don't know you.
Yeah, right. I mean, like, think about like I was like I'm like trying to like string together this concept, the whole thing, like, yeah, like, cause if you make a joke about like a sensitive subject, how is it obvious that you're on the right side of history? Which doesn't mean per se that you shouldn't make the joke, but you should try, because everybody's gonna misunderstand the message either way. Jesus said like, love thy neighbor, and like 1,000 years later the Crusades happened. So like there's no way your message, whether as good as it is not gonna be like weaponized or misinterpreted. Thank you. But at the same time, like, try to make it less ambiguous as possible, It's just like I mean, like, I was thinking, like movies like Fight Club. Fight Club was written by Chuck Palahniuk, a gay author, and Bret Easton Ellis, who is a queer author who wrote American Psycho. Was like the screenplay was by a woman and directed by another woman. I don't remember the name. I'm sorry about that. But
you did a bit on that. Remember
I did a bit on that.
It was like, and then so guys, but he's sexy, It was like, oh, what did you?
But that's the problem with society. It's like, oh, but listen to the read the lyrics. Don't only listen to the music.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, we definitely got off road with that, but yeah, that's.
I mean, like, yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, but like I think like that's important to be like conscious comedy, as you said. Like, and you like from your perspective, what's your? I'm sorry.
No, go on. Actually, go
ahead. But like, what does it look like? Conscious, like the conscious comedy doing you.
Conscious comedy is this back and forth with comedian and the audience. It's like, I know this. I know what I'm saying could be interpreted in this way. And so it's a fine line between like, I know this joke, I'm going to make this joke, but I'm also conscious that it could be interpreted in this way. So maybe in the joke, you're embedding small things to make it very obvious that that's not your viewpoint exactly, or it's really outside a thing. Like you make it a, this happened to me, or this wasn't me, or it's a person, someone else. And so it becomes like, oh, I'm showing you this thing that's real because I think it's conscious. You need to show this thing, but also I'm showing this thing just to show you, not because I really believe that and I think that. And so we can both laugh at it because it is funny in that way, but we could also take from the idea that it's real and this is happening. And so it's the realness of it, but the consciousness of saying, I acknowledge this thing, I don't so much believe it, but doing it so well and it's a tightrope. So you never. You know.
Yeah, it is. It is like Anthony Jeselnik was quoting in this whole like oh, you cannot say anything anymore. Anthony Jeselnik on a podcast, meta podcasting, said quoted like Andy Warhol, and he said like comedy is getting away with it, like art is getting away with it. So like if you don't get away with it, it's just like hate speeching, you know, and it's just like a resentful voice that is like, oh, why are you not? Sometimes, like, if people are not laughing, probably it's because it's not funny, you know.
I always mention Dave Chappelle, but I love him. And so
it's great.
Sometimes he does a joke and he looks like, am I gonna get away with it? Yeah, I got away with it. You know, and he goes.
He gyms the camera.
Yeah,
That's like the gym thing
like,
from The Office. It's just like,
am I gonna get it? Yeah, I got away. Okay, good. You know, and it's like, okay, you know, like that's it. Like you said, it's art. Did you get away with it? You know, you said something, but do we say as a group here, do we laugh or we don't laugh? And if you laugh, it's like, okay, I got away with it. You know.
You know, like, but also like the look, says that. It's like, this is not okay, but I'm saying it.
Yeah. But I know it's not okay.
But I
want to talk about it.
But like it's, you know, I have like the thing we were talking about before too. Like I have this, I'm actually oh well, you know, like I want to touch this subject, but
yeah. I guess I feel like as me as a comedian, there's a lot of people's like, you know, you're just supposed to have fun with it. And yeah, I do want to have fun with it, but I have to also acknowledge the person I am. I'm black. Hello.
If you're listening to Spotify, probably like
you wouldn't hear Spotify, everything else. Put this on everything.
Eddie's black.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm black. Maybe you didn't hear my voice, but it's true. And so when I'm doing jokes, I have to be conscious of how I do my jokes, and I've been learning that now. And it's something I'm learning over and over again. It's because I know it's a joke. I know I'm making a joke of myself. But if I say it, and someone who doesn't know that will make that same joke, and like they might say in a way that's like, oh no, that's not a joke. You know, it's like I'm becoming aware that like I need to be careful with what I say and my words, because your words are very powerful.
Yes.
You don't know, and like you said, anything can be misinterpreted. You know, you may have this intention and this idea, but when you put something out there, anyone can listen to it and like look. Imagine what's it called? I had this conversation. It was like, who killed John Lennon? You know, he was like, yeah, because he read The Catcher in the Rye.
The Catcher in the Rye.
Who the fuck reads The Catcher in the Rye and says, yes, I should kill John Lennon? You know, like that's the idea. It's that people can misinterpret the shit you do.
Also, the guy that like shot Ronald Reagan without killing him watched Taxi Driver and Red Catcher in the Rye.
Yeah.
Like that that book like inspired so many people, and like, you know.
Yeah. And so you have this idea. You also have the people like, yeah, he meant this, and this, and we can see that. But then also people who are saying, no, he meant this, and we should do that, and we should do that. And so like, me being a comedian, I'm learning, and I'm still learning, even these days, this last weeks, it's like, okay, I need to be conscious of what I say, because if I don't, I might not even be hurting like myself. Me, I don't care. I'm a comedian. That's my point. But also maybe communities, you know, and like, yeah.
Yeah. Also, like, because we were talking about this when like a couple of months prior to this. Like, the thing is, like, if you like make like you as like a black comedian, if you make a joke about like you being black in Italy and everything, like many people use it like as like the taboo card like thing, you know, like the game Taboo, when you say when the other person, the guesser, says one of the taboo words, like the guy that has to make the clue, he can say those words. So like if you say the N-word, for instance, and in front of somebody, they could take, like, if they're not educated, they could take it as like the taboo thing, like, oh, you said it, so I can say it
too,
and that thing, and like you gotta know you gotta read the room, you gotta know your ground, you gotta, you know.
And it's funny because you gotta know, I love saying nigga. It's like, it's the best word. I don't know, for me, because it's like a word that like I can use and no one else can use. So it's kind of like, oh, I can say that, you can't say. So it's like it's fun. And plus, like when I'm talking with my friends, like my friends back at home, I use that. Like, then I don't use that when I'm talking to like my other friends because I'm not gonna.
Yeah, you never used it like with me, but like for obvious. Yeah.
But what I'm talking about, but that is a culture of me and who I am. So when I think of jokes, I'm thinking like that's what I would say if I was talking to my friend Eli, and we would like go back and forth. And then it's like, yeah, but I'm not in front of Eli right now. I'm in front of a bunch of people who don't understand that. And so even in my jokes, I think one of my jokes I made, I was just like, oh yeah, nigga. I said, oh, Italians are the niggas of
Terroni, Southern Italians.
Yeah. But I said, but hey, then I said this joke, and then later I was like, but hey, don't start thinking that you can say nigga. No, you can't.
No,
And so I put it in there just to like, because it's like, yeah, I need to be conscious of it. Like I said it, but hey, I said it, and so, but it's a word I'm like experimenting with, but it has its good side and it has its bad side, so I have to be conscious of that.
Well, it's funny that I love your bit about the Southern Italian, the terroni, which I can say, but you cannot say.
I don't say it. And that's why I don't say it. Yeah.
No, you can use it. Don't worry about it. Like everybody else uses it, would be hypocritical. But the word terroni, like, it, of course, it doesn't hold the same history, and you cannot, like, spot a terroni like from the other side of the street because like it's about how you speak and everything. Well, you can spot somebody like who is very, very terroni from the other side of the street, but that's another that's another thing. Like the thing is, like in Italy there's like a similar way in which people but now not anymore, but like back in the day, I remember when I was like fresh in Milan, and it's changed a lot. Thanks to like a series like My Brilliant Friend and Mare Fuori, which is really famous, and other like Paolo Sorrentino, like which made coming from the south very much cooler than was it in the past. So like you can like and but they're still around, like it says like, oh, I'm from the south but I'm not a terrone, which is like it's like the bit by Chris Rock, you can there's black people and there's
niggas.
But like it's like it's kind of the same, like there, because every time like you have like a marginalized group, like and terroni in Italy, it is one, like we had the Sanremo thing. In Sanremo, it's like this big musical competition, and like this guy that sang the first song in Napolitan, he won the popular vote, but the journalist made him not win. And like everybody started like, there was like a lot of like, the classic Napolitans, they're rigging the thing. Maybe they like the song, that's it. Like, because he was too Napolitan, and that thing. And like when I was early in Milan in 2009, I wanted like to flatten my identity, my regional identity.
Because you have to tell where you're from.
Where are you from? Benevento, from the south. And like back in the day, it was like Benevento is like, no, where is it? Next to Naples. So you're Napolitan. Now that Naples is cool, I'm from Benevento. So like now that Naples is a cool thing, I'm still getting in the short end of the stick. So like you can never win like when you're But anyway, like the thing is, and there was this actual joke running that it was the first time I remembered that, like I said, like that's not funny. And the joke, like if you allow me, like this guy from Milan, like born and raised, he went up to me and he says like, oh, like why Americans have black people and Italians have like terroni? Because we chose last. And like, and I said, I smiled politely, but it's like, it's we've been taught, we haven't had shared a meal. We're not friends.
Yeah. I don't know you like that. Yeah.
It's like this is like because like the implication of the joke is just like saying like you're saying that a group of people is a problem. There's no other way.
Yeah. What's your message?
Yeah. Because like the thing is like that in comedy, the A plus X equals C. Like A is the setup with the hook. And the B, but the B in some jokes is always like in the subtext, and the subtext of the joke is like it cannot be interpreted in anything like positive. You think about it.
So you said A plus B or A plus X?
Plus X, yes.
Because I was like, do the math in my head. I was like, what the
no,
fuck?
yeah. Thank you. No, yeah.
No,
Yeah, the B, but that's why I said X. But anyway, there's always like a part of the joke that it's left to the mind of the person to interpret.
Yeah.
So like that's why you're in the position of saying like, oh, it was just a joke, and you go like, yes, but you know what you meant.
Yeah.
The fact that you didn't say it, like there's a part of text that is like,
the context.
and the context. Thank you.
That was just like a situation. Oh, well situation.
Thank you. No, but thank you. Sometimes I'm pedaling like a duck and
save me. No.
Save me, Eddie. Save me.
No, I understand that.